Hey, greetings, folks. This is Chief Meteorologist Chad Merrill on a Saturday, but I have a little explainer for you. Last night, we reported that there was a bunch of dust across the region after we got some rain, and we had indicated it was from ash from wildfire smoke in the Southwest and Texas. Indeed, after more research, it was not from the brush fires. Let's share my screen real quick and get you up to speed on everything that we saw going on. And let me put this into motion and you will see what's going on. So this was the video we got from Sarah in Craigsville. And after the rain had settled, she looked at her car and she took a paper towel and wiped it off. And that is dust, folks. That is dust on the car in Craigsville. So with that in mind, let's tell you exactly what happened. There was a strong low pressure across the Southwest last night. And this is a special type of satellite image where you can see the clouds circulating around the low pressure, but it also points out where there is dust. So you can see a very strong signal for dust, not only in New Mexico and Texas, but also northern Mexico. And the trajectory of this particular dust was out of the Southwest. It was moving from Southwest to Northeast. So we have this very strong upper level low across New Mexico and Arizona, and the winds around low pressure go counterclockwise. So when we put this into motion, what you're going to see here is the trajectory of the cloud cover around the low pressure and the trajectory of the dust moving from southwest all the way off towards the north and east. There you can see the circulation of the low pressure and then the dust pivoting its way off towards the northeast, expanding in size. You can see all that yellow is expanding in size as it moves into Texas. Okay. So that dust actually got transported by the jet stream, and we actually saw in the cloud cover this milky yellow color. This is dust that is moving. It's hard to see, but this is Kentucky and this is West Virginia. So we had the dust embedded within the showers, and then we ended up with the image that you saw from Craigsville, and it was moving east. So not only was that dust evident in our area, but all the way down into the plains and all the way into Virginia as well. On the large picture, you can see the upper level low moving here, the dust expanding, and a little bit of the plume moving into the southern Ozarks all the way into our region. So it was quite a fascinating event. This was the upper level flow pattern from last night. So very clearly you can see here's the trough of low pressure, very strong winds in the jet stream, basically moving from New Mexico all the way into our area. Straight shot, dust storm originates here, carried by the upper level winds all the way into southern parts of West Virginia. We have confirmation of the dust storm from the METAR observation in El Paso, Texas. The airport last evening reported 1/4 of mile visibility due to a heavy dust storm. So it was very evident in El Paso. So you might be wondering, are there going to be more dust storms on the horizon? Well, in order to evaluate that situation, we look at the precipitation ranking since the very start of winter. And all these red colors here indicate that Arizona and New Mexico and West Texas have had their driest stretch of weather on record since 1893. And we're dating back, we're doing a large scale time frame here, November 30th through March 7th. So since the soil is very dry, it's very prone to developing dust. On the other hand, you can see along the East Coast that it's still been very dry, even as we add the last couple of weeks into the mix. So there's still a heightened brush fire risk along the East Coast from basically Philadelphia all the way down into the Carolinas. Remember, last week at this time, we were dealing with brush fires in Hagerstown, Maryland, and the big brush fire that developed, the wildfire in South Carolina. So we're going to focus our attention here in the Southwest. The soil is very dry. It's very prone to moving along and creating these dust storms. Well, folks, next week, late next week, there's going to be a very strong low pressure that moves from the West Coast into the Rockies and then jumps into the plains. This could be one of the strongest low pressures in the last 10 years or so that makes its way off the Front Range. When you see these isobars very tightly packed together, that means there is a very strong signature in the data for gusty winds. Those gusty winds moving out of the southwest will likely generate another dust storm in the southwest. Now, is that dust storm going to move into our region? We have to have the perfect trajectory of upper level winds like we had last night for that to happen. However, at this point, what we can say is there will likely be dust and very heightened brush fire risk in the southwest. Where that dust goes is difficult to predict right now, but it will at least go into Texas and maybe parts of the South. So that's the latest information on why we had the dust and why your car is kind of filthy right now, and why you probably, after we get through the little bit of rain and snow this morning, we'll clear it out. We'll have some sunshine a little bit later on a Saturday. So that'll give you an opportunity to wash your car off and get that dust off. So that's why we had all the dust and silt and yucky stuff on the cars last night. And I hope you all have a great weekend. Christian will have your latest forecast tonight on Newswatch at 6.